All right, everybody, it's time to talk about Weekly Shonen Jump 2026, issue number 34. On the cover this week, we have Roboco, and the cover, as seen here, isn't anything too special. However, I want to point out the version that is on the English Shonen Jump app at the banner. This is so cool. I love just getting to see what is likely Miyazaki's office. Shuhei Miyazaki, by the way, not Hayao Miyazaki, in case there was any clarification needed. It's just really cool to see. I really like that insight into what his office looks like. I like the YouTube play button in the background. I guess, I don't know, from a Roboco channel, I have to imagine, that I didn't even know existed. It's just really interesting to see what he has lying around his office. I mean, it's a complete mess, really. It's just a bunch of issues of Shonen Jump and Roboco volumes with plushies, but I have to imagine at least part of that is just for the photo and not actually what it looks like all the time. But maybe not. Who knows? Regardless, I actually really like this cover. It's a good one. The issue itself, there's really no news to talk about. Sakamoto Days is entering its climax, so it's probably not much longer for the world. And I am aware that something insane has happened in Hunter x Hunter. I have somehow managed to avoid spoilers since the issue leaked on like Wednesday or Thursday or whatever. I don't know what happens. I have a pretty strong guess that I believe to just be true, given the fact that the internet like exploded because of this, and I truly think there is only one thing that could garner this kind of reaction, but let's see if I'm wrong. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised that the internet is blowing up over something else instead of what I have in my mind. But even if it is what I have in mind, it's still very exciting, so let's just wait and see. This isn't the Hunter x Hunter segment, sorry to talk about it, but it's hard to not talk about it given how in the conversation this series was over this past week. All right, but let's go ahead and talk about this issue from the beginning. Hunter x Hunter's at the end, by the way, so I got a long way to go. Me and Roboco Chapter 290, Grandpa and Roboco. That's the 6th anniversary. Awesome. Happy anniversary, Roboco. However, this chapter goes completely over my head, aside from like, you know, just like the other references thrown about. Obviously the staple Hunter x Hunter reference, 2 back-to-back actually, and it was a funny one. But the concept of this chapter is, I guess, a collaboration with Grandpa Danger, which is a gag manga that runs in Koro, and I have never heard of this prior, so none of this really landed. It was funny. I just don't really know what this is or why it's a big deal to be collaborating with Grandpa Danger. It is successful. It has an anime. People seem to like it. It's just one of those things that's more than likely not very popular overseas because of, I mean, it's a gag manga. Gag manga and anime don't typically do super well overseas just because of the way Japanese humor is often done. It doesn't really jive with other cultures. This is something I don't really know what to say about it because it was not a collab that I was particularly excited about. So cool, happy anniversary, glad you got the collab, but I don't know who that is. Akane-banashi Chapter 215, the winner is. So this chapter itself, there's honestly not a whole lot to say about it in my opinion. This is very exciting. We have the winner of the God of Death duel announced, and we started to think it is Kaisei. They make it seem pretty apparent that he is the winner, but then Isho pulls however, and then says that it's actually Akane. The reason he chooses her over Kaisei is definitely interesting, and I also like that we kind of get a smile from Kaisei after the announcement. That's nice. I'm curious to see what the conversation afterwards will look like between the two of them. But yeah, this was a really good moment. I'm very surprised, obviously, that it went this way. I kept going back and forth on my prediction on who would win. It was basically impossible. But you can rewind the footage. I am pretty sure last week I did settle on Akane, I think. I don't remember for sure. I'm pretty sure I did predict Akane as my final guess. Maybe I got it right, maybe I didn't. I don't really remember, to be honest. Awesome. I'm very happy she won. This is a big deal. She deserved it. But Kaisei's performance was obviously also incredible, and I'm sure, you know, he's taken this loss hard, even though he's letting out a little grin here. I'm sure this is a huge bummer, because you can see whenever it was thought that Kaisei won, Akane was definitely feeling bad. It was only like an over-the-shoulder shot of her, but you could just kind of tell. It's that, you know, manga vibe where you know somebody's sad just seeing that angle of their body. Yeah, really cool chapter. Very surprised, but very excited to see what comes of this now. This is a whole new world we're entering. Akane just like leveled up a lot because of this in the eyes of everybody, I'm sure.
Get this man a gun.
Sakamoto Days, chapter 268, Prisoner of the Past. An awesome, awesome Nagumo chapter. If I had to sum Nagumo up in one chapter, it would be this one. This tells you everything you need to know about the character. Such an awesome showcase of his skills and personality. I also love how, by the way, Gaku is pretty much just here to be a punching bag. Like, he has contributed nothing of importance to this fight at all. He just keeps getting the shit kicked out of him. Great addition to the fight, Gaku. I'm glad you're here. But beyond that, this was just, again, such an amazing showcase of Nagumo. I loved all the action moments. And I love how at the end, he just cuts off Uzuki's monologue right at the end. It's so badass. I love this. This was so cool. I'm sure this will all go south next chapter. As an individual chapter for Nagumo, this was incredible. If this is like his last stand and he's gonna die like I'm predicting, then so be it, because this was rad as hell. I loved this so much. Ichi the Witch, chapter 91, First Impressions. A very Amadoro-focused chapter, which is fine. I mean, I'm sure she's going to be a relatively crucial part of the upcoming story. It's weird to call it an arc because, like, I think we're in the same arc still. It's, like, Fujimine arc, but I'm not sure if Fujimine is like an overarching antagonist. It kind of feels like it to me. Like, she doesn't seem like a presence that's gonna stop existing anytime soon. I don't know, maybe this will be like the first like huge arc of Ichi that lasts, I don't know, 50 chapters or something, and it's just encompassing all of Fujimine as a major antagonist. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, the stuff we get for Amadoro is cool. We get to learn more about what she's actually like outside of the brainwashing, and she's, you know, very noble, very humble. She just wants to get one last job to finish what she was in the middle of and save the girls that got kidnapped. And then the stuff we get at the end with Fujimine and what is it, Hikari, I think? This magic that to be completely honest, I don't really love the design of. It's pretty ugly in my opinion, but whatever, it is what it is. I don't care that much. And it's funny, you know, to have somebody completely combative against Fujimine, even though they're on the same side. But I don't really see the vision here yet. As always, anytime I'm skeptical with I'm about to say this sentence, but it's actually not true. I'll elaborate in a second. I was going to say, though, anytime I'm doubtful about Ichi the Witch, it always proves me wrong. However, that was not the case with the Magic Keepers. So, I don't know. But that's a one and only thing, even though the Magic Keepers are, unfortunately, a major presence now. Every other time I've been, like, skeptical or weary, I've been proven wrong. So I'm sure this will be cool. I just don't really know what to make of it yet. It's a very early chapter in this new character's introduction, while we're still getting accustomed to Fujimine and Amadoro. So there's a lot, and the Magic Keepers for that matter. There's a lot being added to our plate all of a sudden, all at once. And it could be done better, but let's just wait and see. Let's hear it out.
What are you doing, step bro?
New is Exorcist chapter 154. In that case, we were right. Very high on the TOC this week, always surprising to see, but it does happen every once in a while. Shitotsu's back, that's something. At least we have one of the side characters being utilized. That's actually crazy to see at this stage of the story because all the other ones have completely disappeared, including Shitotsu until now. So at least we got one of them. It doesn't really do much, but hey, she's here at least, I guess, for a second. And yeah, the other stuff, I don't know. I guess we're just getting right into a fight. It's fine. Like, I can't deny that the action does look cool, and the aura farming is definitely effective, I got to admit. I like how it looks. It's a fun chapter, I suppose, but, you know, lacking in substance. But hey, we get a cool fight. So, and it's with Gakuro. At least it's a character I'm supposed to care about rather than a bunch of characters that I don't care about fighting. So we take what we can get with Nue. I'm always saying this, but really we got to celebrate the small victories with this series because that's all we got. Not bad. Not bad. Someone Hertz chapter 42. What a mess. Honestly, not a whole lot to say about this one. It was very cute, as always. Wow, you never heard me say that one before. I really enjoyed it. It's just, I don't really have any talking points this week. Just really cute moments with the characters and building the relationship even further. That's the whole series to a T, but usually there's a little more to chew on, but this week it didn't really give me much. Unfortunately, it was just really a cute one. It again does make me wonder where we're going with the romance plotline. Is it speeding up or is it long term? I just don't know. You never know with a romance series. I know this is a romance series on paper, but it just doesn't feel like one all the time. So I don't know if this is going to be the type to get the relationship between the two main characters started early or like near the end. I just can't pin it. I feel it'll start sooner rather than later, but I don't know. I don't know how long this series will be. That's another thing that's basically impossible to gauge because of what this story is about. I do not see it being like a blue box length thing. I feel like it'll end somewhere in the hundreds, but it does seem to be moving fast. Like they are definitely developing a deeper connection more and more every single chapter. It just makes you wonder, like, when's the boiling point? When's it just gonna come to a head and they're gonna date? Yeah, very cute, as always.
Doctor, doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of...
Undercover Chapter 25, Scared. Man, this chapter is really frustrating because I loved it. This is what I want from the series, first and foremost. This was actually fantastic, I thought. It was portrayed in such an amazing way, like this realization from Shuli that I'm doing this right now, but the weight of what he's doing hits him at once. And he just realizes, like, I'm scared. I don't know if I can do this. Haiji's life is in my hands. This guy who is teaching me the shit that I'm doing right now, his life is in my hands. I could lose him right now if I fuck this up. It's really, really well done. And the aftermath of it is so sweet, as is the during parts of it too, where Haiji, despite being operated on and giving instructions on how to do the operation, is just completely calm, under control, reassuring Shuli that everything's gonna be all right. And it's so beautiful. This was amazing. I really, really liked this one. This series is so frustrating, dude. I just want it to be this all the time, but it feels so aimless. I know I say it every damn week, but it's just true. This series has no idea what it's doing most of the time. And then like maybe once a month or so, it locks in and creates a really, really good chapter. Either way, you know, not looking at the outside context of the series surrounding this chapter was very good, and that has to be celebrated. I thought this was an incredible chapter, which is shocking to say based on how I've been talking about it lately, but this one really impressed me. Great stuff. Canon Master Chapter 5, The Master's Specialty. This was pretty cool. It's nice to see some like one-on-one combat between two people rather than, you know, people versus a big monster. It's nice to know that the series like has that side to it, because the whole time I kept seeing the kaiju action, I just kept thinking like, man, the way that this is drawn, I bet like two humans fighting in this series would look sick. But I just didn't really think that this was that kind of series. But it does have it, and it's actually really cool. So far, what we've seen, I mean, we've literally seen three people fight in the series so far, but all of the fighting styles are so unique and cool. Like, I love this, like, little chain knife thing, and then, like, using the sand powers or whatever to make it into a bludgeon. Like, it's, like, chain linked together. It's so cool. Very unique. I love this. And then Frank's wind powers continue to be cool, especially in this one-on-one context. Very, very cool. I also love the design of the armor that they're wearing during this fight. Really great stuff. The art continues to be fantastic looking, and I just really like how the action is drawn. That's like one of the biggest draws to me, is how the fighting looks. It's very engaging and very nice to look at. Really cool chapter, once again. I am still very much enjoying this series. I'm really rooting for it. I feel a future in this series. I feel a massive potential, and I'm hoping it doesn't let me down because, man, this is cool. Just such a unique and fun world that it takes place in. And yes, I suppose this chapter is kind of playing more into tropes of the genre, but I don't know. Something about it just feels fresh, even though it is tropey. It's cool so far. I like it. Shinobi Undercover Chapter 90, Their Trial. This is pretty much everything I could have wanted out of a chapter like this. It's so good. I love everything about it. The bulk of the chapter is obviously just Aoi and Yotaka hanging out, having a good time, while Yotaka is secretly undergoing a test to gain approval. And meanwhile, there's a really great running joke on the comms with Op, that Bato is also sitting in on this, and he cracks a beer and then he pops a bottle. He just keeps overhearing him opening drinks. It's a very funny running bit that I enjoyed a lot. I love how they're just like viewing this like a TV show. They're just watching this, and well, at least Bato is, I suppose, just watching this and having a beer. Really funny. Obviously, all the stuff with Aoi and Yotaka is incredibly sweet. The Suzume moment was pretty funny and extremely unexpected. I really didn't even realize that was her at first. And the fact that she calls it a gender swap Romeo and Juliet says a lot about her. I may be trans? I don't know. It hasn't been confirmed, but she at least seems to feel that way about herself, or I guess himself in this case. Interesting. I don't know. Maybe just non-binary. Gender doesn't matter. Who cares? Whatever. That's probably the way I would choose to view it. Regardless, it was cool. Nice little moment, I suppose. I thought it was funny. And then everything beyond that, just again, really nice moments with Aoi and Yotaka. Cute chapter, very fun. Love it. Definitely brought me back to the olden days of this series where it was more of a slice of life mixed with action, and this is obviously just pure slice of life, but that's exactly why I loved it so much. Perfect and just what I needed. I really loved this one. Witch Watch Chapter 255, Bone Crisis Part 24, Memories of Roswitha Part 1. This isn't really something I'm too terribly interested in. I think this is a pretty boring chapter for the most part, and the whole crux of what this story is like being set up as is not very interesting in any capacity. The whole twist at the end is very silly, and I don't know where this is going, but I can already tell you I don't really care for it. I don't know. Hopefully this doesn't last too long. I am just so not interested in this at all. Like it cannot be understated how little I care about this story that we're being told right now. Maybe somehow this will win me over in the next couple chapters, but as far as an introduction to the story goes, this is not doing anything for me. I just hope it's not too long because I'd like to get back to the actual thing I care about and not this. Sorry, but this just ain't for me. I got nothing out of this chapter, really.
Ridge Racer! Remember that one?
Hal Formula Chapter 6, Race 9, Autopolis Oita. Alright, here we go. This is the first real race, multiple chapters long. We ain't done yet. And I really like the flow of this so far. I do have complaints, but first let me talk about the positives. I like this rhythm we get into having Kyogoku and Haruka on the sidelines just kind of talking about the race. Kyogoku obviously is giving all the commentary about like what's going on. He was a commentator, I guess is a commentator now. Obviously here he's just casually there with Haruka, telling him about the race. It's a very natural way to explain to the readers what's going on as well, because obviously he's a kid, he doesn't really understand what's going on. He's just cheering for his brother. But Kyogoku's telling him why what he's doing is so cool and important and why the things he's faced with are challenging. And that's helpful because I don't really know much about racing, really. It's fun to look at and watch on occasion, but I don't really know anything about how it works or the rules. So it's important to have a character like this explaining in a very natural way, honestly, how it works. It doesn't feel too intrusive or bothersome, and if you already know it, you could probably just skip right over it, but it's helpful for people like me. So that's cool. My complaint, though, is it does have that balance, obviously, of commentary and racing. But the racing part, at least what we're getting here, isn't super engaging. We're really just honing in on Miharu exclusively, and that's fine, but I would like to see, like, I don't know, more of the track and the other racers, because really, it cannot be over-exaggerated. All we get in this chapter is just Miharu like in the driver's seat and then like the outside of his car with like a little bit of the track in front of us. We don't really get to see what's happening enough. And that's fine. I think for a first like real race like this, some sacrifices need to be taken to just lay the foundation and the groundwork of what races are like in this story. So fair. This is completely fine for now. But if this becomes a trend and every race is like this, then I'll have problems. But again, this is also only the first chapter of this first race. So let's see how it evolves. This is very early still. We are still very much in like the tutorial phase of the series, assuming it lasts long enough to get out of the tutorial phase, which I really hope it does, please. This was cool, just, you know, not exactly what I'm looking for yet, but I feel like it'll get there. It's still neat. It's just not all the way there yet, but it'll get there. I think so, at least. Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi, Chapter 101, A Tale of Old. Awesome chapter. I know I've been yapping about this a lot lately, but dude, this series has been killing it lately. I am loving it. Like, I've fallen in love with the series all over again. And it's not that I never didn't like it by any means, but I am just like so over the moon about it right now. It's just so engaging and interesting and entertaining. And Misogi here, Kiyoshi's grandma, is just driving that home further. She's fantastic. I love everything about her. I love this panel. Oh my god, it's so cool. She is the original Ultimate Exorcist. How cool is that, man? That's just fucking awesome. I love that so much, that we have this, what is typically like a male role. You know, you have this old legend character, and it's always some old grandpa guy. And don't get me wrong, that's always cool too. Love an old grandpa kicking ass. But it's a whole different story to see an old grandma doing it. It's fucking rad, dude. I just love it. It's so cool. And it's not like a Tsunade situation where she's like, you know, she's old, but she looks young because of her powers, and she's like pure fan service. Not pure, that's a far over exaggeration. I didn't mean it like that, but you know, she's definitely like fan service bait. She's just an old grandma. Just straight up, and it's awesome. She kicks ass. Love her personality. I love how she still gets to be a grandma who is nice and kind. I like that we're even doing stuff with the side characters. Akari is getting a nice little addition to her kit here, which is fun. Thought that was really cool. And we're getting some juicy lore stuff here too. I'm excited to learn more about like what happened to Kiyoshi's parents, exactly who this Rushihara character is all about, like what he is, what his deal is, why he's so feared and strong. At the same time though, this is also like the retcon chapter. Like we learn a lot about what his grandma did to set up like, you know, the beginning of the story and further elaborate on the things that we thought we knew but didn't know the whole truth of. And this is commonplace with series that last long enough to be able to do something like this. It's just adding further context to early events or things we didn't really understand, things that didn't really seem in place at the time, but you know, adding new context to it, making it make sense, and also further setting up deeper rooted conflicts, which is cool. A little, I guess, a tad bit unnatural, but I can forgive it. I don't really care all that much. I am just having such a good time with this series right now. I love it. Low-key, maybe might start buying the volumes. I don't know. I'm tossing around the idea. I don't see much room on my shelf, but I want to support my boy. I love this series, and I feel like it doesn't get enough love in the community. At least not as much as it should. This is a very good chapter, and I had a great time with it. Can't wait for more.
Baby, I'm playing on you tonight.
Animal Signal Chapter 7, Horses and Humans have been companions for over 5,000 years. Wow. Did you know that? Much better than last week, in my opinion. I actually had a lot of fun with this chapter. I thought it was a very cute concept, just having to pretend to date. And, you know, I guess ultimately this kind of boils down to just being an entire chapter of ship teasing. But it was fun and cute. And I love how you think the whole time it's like one-sided with Kokone. But then at the end, it turns it on its head and it's like, oh no, he feels the same way. He's just a lot better at hiding it, I guess. I continue to enjoy their dynamic so much. It's just fun, man. It's just absolute fun, and that's all that matters. As long as I'm having a good time seeing these two characters on my screen, this series is succeeding in my eyes. Sort of reminiscent of Someone Hurts in some ways, in the sense that it's just about two characters kind of going on little adventures and having good times together, but with a different vibe than Someone Hurts. It's not as like wholesome, I guess, because there is fan service, but it's not like that intrusive. It's very random, like in its placing, but and this chapter didn't really have any, as far as I could tell. At least nothing that registered as fan service in my eyes. The funniest moment was when Kokone asked him, what kind of girl do you think I am? Like whenever he's, you know, up and close with her and trying to act inconspicuous, and he just says, hot. But it obviously doesn't mean it like that. I thought that was just a really funny little moment. I wonder what that was in Japanese. I don't know what the equivalent would be. Yeah, super cute chapter. I had a lot of fun with this one.
He did the Monster Man.
Roku's House of Oddities, Chapter 15, Akane-banashi the Working Man. This was a wonderful chapter. I laughed a lot throughout this one. There were so many little bits that got me. Akane-banashi is just trying to get a job. He's going through the ringer, trying his best. His resume killed me. That is so goddamn funny. I love that so much. And then in typical Roku fashion, we go to a more wholesome conclusion to the chapter, where the guy that he had previously saved the baby of a few chapters ago, I don't know how long ago that was, offers him a job. And I think if I'm understanding it correctly, gives him like a whole gas station to run on his own, which is insane. Maybe. I am not exactly sure if he just works there or not, but he has the whole family helping him there, so I have to imagine he runs this himself, which is cute. I mean, if that is the case, that's wonderful. I love having the whole family run a convenience store. That is actually wonderful. It's so nice. Really, really cool developments here. I love Johan as usual, being like, I will do the honor of bringing in the newspaper as his task. That's good stuff. Really, really fun chapter. I love this one. This series is great, man. I'm just having such a good time reading it. Very happy it's sticking around. Its TOC placements are, you know, not incredible, but it's not sinking to the bottom, which is very good to see. Keep it up. Hunter x Hunter, chapter 414, Friends. Well, this was absolutely beautiful. I almost cried. I was very close to just full on crying at the end of this chapter. That was so unbelievably sweet. But hold on, we got a whole other chapter to talk about before we talk about the final page of it. So, holy cow, nothing bombshell drop worthy here. This is more of a melding chapter between, you know, what we were working on before last chapter and what we started working on last chapter. So we tie back into the Kurapika stuff here while also getting developments on the Benjamin soldiers martial law bit. We don't see Benjamin himself in this chapter, but we do see his soldiers starting to act, starting to make moves. Nothing that I think will go too well. Kanji Doll is an absolute moron. I don't know what the hell he's thinking. He's about to get into a fight and probably get his ass beat by Ridge of all people. I think that's Ridge at least. I don't know who else it would be. Curious to see how that goes. I mean, I guess it's a fight. It's been a while since we've had like a fight in this arc, so I'll take it. It'll probably be enjoyable. If we even see it, it could get off screen. I don't know. Depends on how important Togashi sees it as. Interesting stuff going on with Loserist that I'm very excited to dive into on the podcast tonight. And obviously the main thing to talk about is the Kurapika segment of this chapter, where it's so deliberately set up here, and I love it for that, where we have just massive walls of text explaining the situation and how they could possibly deal with the fact that there are two Wobbles, one of which they don't actually know where she is, which is the real Wobble, the important one, and how we don't know how the rules of the succession contest affect this situation. And, you know, Kurapika and Bill, by the way, Bill is the GOAT in this chapter. I am loving his development we've seen throughout this arc, and it's kind of all coming to a head here where he's just like, yeah, I mean, Beyond sucks. I was loyal to him, but I'm not the type of guy that will blindly follow someone. If evidence is presented to me that makes me change my mind on a person, I will hear it out. I am exclusively here to defend Oito and Wobble, fake Wobble and real Wobble, obviously. Forget Beyond. I don't care anymore. That takes a lot of balls to be able to declare. Good on Bill. That was an amazing moment, and his relationship with Kurapika just keeps getting more and more entertaining. Love it. So yeah, what we have here is Kurapika and Bill going over the possibilities. How are we going to deal with this? What can we do? What are our options? And then after all that talking and explaining and theorizing, we boil it down to these final 2 pages where we just breathe. There's no more walls of text. Very simple, traditional paneling. And we just have Kurapika saying very plainly that if it comes down to it and defense is needed on the mainland, I promise I have friends I can trust more than myself. I swear on my life they will protect the prince. And then we get our first look at Gon and Killua and Haruka in a long time. I don't know the amount of real world years it's been since we've seen them. I think we have seen, technically, I think we saw Killua more recently than Gon, because we saw Killua very briefly on the phone before the Black Whale departed. He talked to Kurapika for a second. And then Gon, it might have been after that, actually. I can't remember when the Gon, like, going back to Whale Island chapter happened in relation to that. I think it was like the same volume. I just don't know which happened first. And they look great. Gon, admittedly, does look a little off. His face is different, but I don't think, I mean, it has been like a year in World too, so they got a little older. Killua looks basically the same though. He's dripped out as always, and Gon is just wearing his typical clothes. So nothing's changed there. Killua is walking the streets of some London-inspired city, kinda looks like. Maybe it's, I probably can't make that judgment call. I don't know. It's just kind of a normal looking city. And then obviously going on Whale Island with presumably Noko. We don't know for sure if that's her, but I don't know who else it would be. Maybe just some random new girl on the island, I guess. But regardless, this moment, it seriously almost made me cry. Just seeing and being reaffirmed that Kurapika, despite all of this, despite what he's been through, despite the attitude he's had, or at least he had at the beginning of this arc, and he has been more cold in this arc, but his old personality shines through a lot. And this isn't the first time he's reflected on the relationship with, his friends. It also happened near the beginning of the arc, whenever he was about to use Steel Chain for the first time, I think, something like that around there. But it's just nice to see that he still thinks about them and he still trusts them with his life. It is so damn sweet. Oh my god, that was wonderful. So this begs the question, are we going to delve into some new side story in this arc where we see Gon and Killua actually doing something on the mainland, or is this just a little cameo? I don't know. We have to figure out more about this Wobble situation first, I think. I'm hoping we don't cut away right now to Gon and Killua to do something. I don't feel like it's leading to that, but the way we end the chapter is also a little concerning because we end on like a big time left until the Succession War ends is 49 days. That could be like a bookmark kind of statement, and we are gonna cut off the boat, which I'll take it. I've said it a million times, I'll go on any ride Togashi wants to take me on, but I really just want to progress this arc, man. I gotta see what happens. We're in the middle of martial law, let's go. I don't think we're going to cut away. I really don't. I think this is just, that is what it is. We're leaving it here. It's planting the seed for more than likely, yeah, what will develop into some kind of mainland plot with real Wobble, I think. At least in the future. I don't know. It could go anyway. The point is, even if this is setting up nothing, which is also entirely possible, it's just nice to see them again and to be reaffirmed that Kurapika is still the same guy we knew. He loves his friends. He trusts them with his life. It's so cute and sweet. I love it. I'm so happy we got this moment. And yes, this is what I guessed. I did guess, actually. So I was a little wrong. I did guess that it was only Gon. In my head, I was just like, we're going to see Gon. I don't know why, but we're going to see Gon. I was right, but we also see Killua, which is awesome, and Aluka. Loved that incredibly sweet moment. This was an amazing chapter all around. I just love the build up to this moment too. How simple it is to say this and how much he means it. I love the look in his eyes when he's saying those words. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. What a moment. One of my favorite moments in the arc now. Oh my god. Incredible stuff. Cannot wait to see where we go from here. So many possibilities on the table. Who knows, man. Check out the Hunter Association podcast if you want to hear me talk about this for another 2 hours with guest Suck War Central, our good pal CJ, Hunter x Hunter YouTuber. Check it out. Class 2B Hero Destroyerz Chapter 13, Demon King plus EXP plus center color page equals level up. Very self-aware. I'm not talking about the TOC this week. Let's wait till next week. This is a color page week. Things are weird. Next week. If it's still this low next week, I will be concerned. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, this chapter, incredible. This is my favorite chapter so far. This is like the perfect first combat encounter for these kids. Of course, it's not serious. It was never going to be, but it's all the better for it. We have Valaris hitting her head and forgetting what she even is. Like immediately, as soon as she enters combat, she just forgets who she is and then ends up joining the party of the heroes. And then everybody else has to pick up the slack. Just so many fun moments along the way with Akira, of course, and the guy whose name I still don't know that looks like Gintoki. I'll get it one day, I think, maybe. I cannot get that one for some reason. This was just so fun. I absolutely loved this, and if this is what we could expect from combat encounters in this series, I am all for it. I'm sure, again, there will be serious ones in the future, but if we get stuff like this every once in a while, please give it to me. So funny. Still continuing to absolutely love this series, man. I hope it sticks around. I'm a little worried about it, but look, next week, let's see. I gotta see next week. Don't worry about this one. I also want to see volume sales. There's a lot I need to see about this one first. I'm so curious, because it's by an established mangaka. It has to do at least a little well. And I'm not worried because, again, Jump will give Sorachi extended time. It always happens with established mangaka. This is probably, no matter what, gonna at least run for like 30, 40 chapters. So maybe it'll catch readers in that time. I said I wasn't gonna talk about it, but I talked about it anyway. Whatever. I'll elaborate next week if it's still low. But hopefully it just shoots up next week. That's what I'm really hoping on. Great chapter. Loved it. On to the Fire, Chapter 14, A Peer Who Bugs You. Nothing much to note about this chapter, really. I'm starting to feel more of a looming axe over this one. The pacing is odd in this series, and it kind of always has been, but I feel like we're starting to bring the goalpost back a bit. I could be wrong, but there's just no way this series survives. It's so low every week. It's not the bottom Kinato's at the bottom, which I'll talk about that in a second. I feel like it's just kind of throwing a bunch of stuff out there that it wants to do. So it's just trying to get all of its ideas out there. But I don't know. I could see it going the other way too, because it's weird because it really doesn't exactly feel like it's ending by any means, but it doesn't feel like it's gonna be a long story. I don't know, man. This is a really bizarre series to me. I didn't mind this chapter. I thought it was fine, but I just can't tell what Shueisha is thinking about it. We have a fun new character, pretty entertaining. It adds an interesting new dynamic to the already existing characters. It'll be a good opponent, I guess, even though the game will likely last like half a chapter or something, knowing the pacing of this series. Not bad. Kinato's Magic Chapter 24, Iron Fangs and Seraph Wings Joint Mission. You know, it's weird. I'm honestly kind of starting to like this series again, but it's almost certainly not going to survive, so that's a little sad. But hey, look, man, I have seen series crawl from the depths of hell before. It's not impossible. If it keeps trending in a good direction, maybe it'll stick around. I don't know. Just throwing the idea out there. This isn't bad at all. I know it keeps getting put at the very bottom of the TOC, but that initial charm of it is kind of back, and I'm enjoying it again. This was really fun. I loved all the character interactions, and the comedy was fantastic. This donkey moment was really great. I don't even really fully understand what the hell happened there, but I loved it a lot. It was just really funny and absurd. And also how they end up doing absolutely nothing and they just get stuck in a corner. The Kinato fan service moment was literally completely pointless, but I mean, whatever, it was there. I guess it's a staple of the series now for some ungodly reason. But yeah, man, really not bad at all. I actually enjoyed this chapter quite a bit, surprisingly. It's going in an interesting direction. It doesn't feel like it's setting up an ending at all. So I don't know, maybe it's not getting axed. I can't tell what's going on around here anymore. We're in such a weird era where I think we're just kind of waiting for these long running series to end more than actually getting things axed to fill slots. Because we have slots in the magazine right now. Not a lot, but we're gonna probably wait, I don't know, for Sakamoto days to end to get another batch going, I would have to imagine. But it's coming, and I don't know if we're gonna lose any of these new series. We might actually keep them around for another wave, which would be pretty insane. But just based on where they're all going narratively, I can't see any of them getting axed anytime soon. Drawn to the Fire, maybe. It could really just speed up through this tournament and give an ending at any moment. It's kind of at the leisure of Jump at this point, like whatever. It can end whenever, because it has insane pacing to begin with, so it can just rocket through like 5 games and then do the final game in 1 chapter if they have to. Interesting times at Shueisha, for sure. But yeah, Kinato, good stuff actually. I actually liked it for once. And I mean, I didn't really mind last chapter either, so it's trending in a positive direction. That's nice. Alright everybody, that's going to do it for Weekly Shonen Jump 2026 issue number 34. This is a pretty good issue. I'd say it's a pretty standard issue for the most part, but with some really high highs, and one of which being this week's chapter of the week, which is going to be Hunter x Hunter chapter 414. Even if just for the final moment and everything building up to it, this was absolutely my chapter of the week. That moment hit like a truck. Loved it so much, and of course all the stuff at the beginning is great too. We're really moving with this martial law stuff, and I'm so excited about that, dude. But I'm glad before it happens, we get this nice moment to breathe and remember where we came from. Won't say any spoilers here. You can watch my segment and also the podcast, Hunter Association, if you want to hear me talk about it even more. Great stuff. Oh man. Next week, Sakamoto Days will be taking the cover, likely for the final time, so let's enjoy it while we can. About to be on its way out, so yeah, I think this is almost certainly the final time it'll be on the cover of Jump. End of an era. See what it's got up its sleeve. I hope it's a good one. I think the last one was kind of mid, if I remember correctly at least. That's all I got for this week though. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment with your thoughts on this issue. Let me know your chapter of the week, your least favorite chapter of the week, or anything else you'd like to tell me about from this issue. Remember, you can also become a channel member at 3 tiers. You can click the join button to see what tier works best for you. You get things like early access to new videos, emotes, exclusive monthly videos, name in the credits, and if you join at the highest tier, you will get your name read out loud right now. So thank you to DJ Tengen, Milu Kitty, Braden Farrell, Halfpipe, Rafker, The Cosmer 64, Cosmic, Key to the Skies, Iliadis, Noobs Rock, Dan, The World's Worst, Menacing Pigeon, I Am Alive, I Think, Papa Aeon, Gaming Anime Addict, and BNE. Thank you all so much for your support, and thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in whatever you decide to watch next. Take it easy, guys.